Yo, what's going down, kids? Y'all know who this is, man. It's your boy, Big Drewski, and welcome to another edition of Space Bucket Growing with Drewski. Oh, yeah. Welcome, everybody. It is now Friday, April 13th, 2018, and by the time you guys hear this, it'll be a couple of days out. Tinkerbells Revenge, the Grow Diaries, and we've got some updates for you guys. This is going to be a nice fun one, but before we get into that, we're going to pay some bills here, and we're going to get into some things.
Space buckets are the easiest intro into cannabis. At Mostly Safe Microgrow, the artisan space buckets make it even easier. Each space bucket comes equipped with Roladero UFO LEDs, reflective lining, 220 CFM intake and exhaust fans, plus power array. A complete grow tent and a 12-inch footprint with an average yield of 2 ounces or more. Head to MostlySafe8.com for their artisan space buckets and how-to guides, or check them out on Etsy. Mostly Safe Microgrow, 2 ounces plus.
Yo. Alright, so we just got done doing all that, paying some bills, getting things done. You know how it goes. And this week, we've got some nice little surprises here for you guys. So the crew from Mostly Safe, our partners, are in town, and we're going to get our Grow Diary here going here pretty soon. Got things up and moving. Nice and fun action there. But on the Space Bucket side, so I told you guys we got some updates going, and I got surprised with a Grow Star 300 watt Cob UFO LED. Cob, circuit on board. So that's the new LED lighting technology. It's supposed to take less power, give you the lighting that you're asking for as far as wattage and power range, and you're saving some money there. Also upgrading your lighting. So Tinkerbells Revenge, the clone, is now going to finish herself out with a 300 watt UFO LED Cob setup shining over Tinkerbell's Revenge, and then she's surrounded by 200 watts of LED additional lighting in the spacers. So one plant, the final month and a half of the flower stretch, or the flowering, not flower stretch, but flowering until harvest is done, is going to get a nice little bump from 380 watts to 500. So I added an additional 120 watts of lighting to our plant. And in the couple of days that I've had this UFO LED, I've noticed some significant changes already. Watering, yeah, you're gonna have to water a lot more frequently, and I'm having to use more water. Hey, told you guys that this was probably going to happen, especially in flower, knowing that the flower phase usually has some different effects, and adding more lighting definitely has a lot more effects. So the more light, it seems, the thirstier she gets, and she sucks in all the water that she can. So we're making sure that she stays nice and fed for the next about 6 weeks here. And she's going to look pretty good. I know you guys hear the humming in the background, and if you don't, we are in the grow room itself. I'm waiting to see what this 300 watt Cob is going to do. Hopefully adding more lighting, the 120 additional watts of lighting is going to make for fuller, more dense flowers at the end of harvest, and that will add to our total weight. Hoping we get another 2 ounce pull from this one. Since I did not go with a traditional grow and I decided to do some low stress training and get all the flour I can out of this, I've noticed that some of the flower sites are a lot fatter than others. Some of these flowers already are a lot bigger than other ones that are growing in, adding to our total harvest weight. At the end of the day, this is going to be a nice little fun one to see how, in fact, additional lighting and the cob, this circuit on board, that cob light in the middle is a white LED surrounded by red blues, and then my plant itself is surrounded by white LEDs. So we're blasting this plant with plenty of lighting, plenty of a sun or a light source, whatever you want to call it, to maximize the growth. We went from in clone, set it under 135 for pre-veg. In veg, we went up to flower. We boosted it up to 180 watts of UFO light, and then now we've upgraded to 300. So this last stretch, we're really going to see what goes on, how fat the nugs get, how much water I'm going to be using. All of that's going to change with the UFO LED lighting situation. So, and adding the additional 100-watt light spacer. So, like I said, in total, it's an extra 120 watts of power that we're going to be getting from the light source, and I'm fine with that. The one thing is just seeing what's going to happen during this final portion of flower with the upgraded light. So that's one thing that we've gotten into. Another thing that I've noticed getting into this micro grow as well with this new light setup is that we had to add more height to our lighting situation so we don't burn or bleach any of the flowers that we do have because of the additional power that we're using. The additional 100-watt light spacer getting added into the mix, that's 200 watts of LED light spacers. That was really never a problem. We've been working in that 200 to 300 watt range anyways, but with the addition making this a total of 500 watts, this is about half of what people do in their grow tents for more flowers. So I'm trying to see what happens with one plant max lighting. Like I said, I know we're gonna have to get into more watering, but I also want to see what is going to happen, just with, you know, the leaves getting burnt up, or, you know, potentially having too much heat inside of the space bucket. And that's another thing I'm looking at with the addition of all this lighting. I might have to build myself a fan spacer, and I have all the additional parts for that. I have extra spacers. I have the spacer blocks for the fans. I have additional fans, and so it's just one of those things. I'm looking to see within this next week how this UFO LED setup affects the heat situation in there. Knowing that the plant's going to absorb more water just in nature itself from the soil, but in that, I got to see how fast the absorption rate's going to be. Is this going to turn into a daily watering situation just because of light? Will I have to add an additional spacer? That's going to be a question. And I think that's going to be about it. We already know with the nutrients, doing the half gallon of water with full newts in flower, we're going to cause newt burn, because that additional runoff is actually a precaution. Now that I know that, it's to flush the additional nutrients out of the soil, so that way when the plant is absorbing all of these nutrients, it's not taking in too many, causing nutrient burn that you're going to notice on your flowers and on the leaves themselves, telling you that, hey, you've got a nice little nutrient burn problem. That's one thing I have noticed in the past few weeks, is that now that I'm in flower, I need to switch my watering regimen from the half gallon to a full gallon, so that way I can use the additional water to flush out the additional nutrients, giving you that perfect mixture of water and nutrients to soil, the runoff, and then your plant absorbing all of that in. You're not going to get nutrient burn, and you're going to notice that, especially in flower. I know I'm not pronouncing this word right. The catalysts or calyxes, I think is the word. But the white hairs that start to develop in flower and then turn into your flower, and the flavor and everything that goes along with your strain that you're growing. If you're not feeding properly in flower, you are going to notice nutrient burn if you're feeding too many nutrients or too much of a concentrated batch of nutrients in one. This is why now I realize, especially in flower, the gallon to mix ratio, and it's for that reason that you don't get nutrient burn. So it's a valuable lesson that I've learned in this one. It didn't affect the grow as much. It made everything grow nice and fast, nice and healthy, until flower started. When flower started, then that's when it didn't become a problem. It just became a note of a cautionary tale to use all of the water that you can in this mix, and use that recommended gallon of water per mixture. Sorry about that, you guys. That's the grinder. This is a cannabis-based podcast, and I do smoke cannabis. The strain that we're smoking on this evening is called Green Queen, which is a heavy sativa-based strain that we got from some good friends out of state, Cannabis. And I'm going to smoke some right now. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to pay some more bills by some good friends of ours. I'm actually wearing their gear right now, and you're going to hear about them.
Baked Boys Club is a lifestyle clothing brand inspired by the new movement. Since 2016, we've been throwing around the phrase baked life. This is what we are about. That feeling you get when you are high. Continuously breaking the mold between the ones who are afraid to let everyone know who they really are and the ones who just don't care. The relaxed and carefree. Check out our site, www.bakedboysclub.com, and join the Baked Boys Club. Be yourself, get baked, and enjoy life.
That's right, everybody. Get baked, enjoy life. Go to bakedboysclub.com, pick up their gear. You can pick up Baked Boys Club letter hats from their white, black. You get the Baked Boys Club logo hat, which has the three founding members of the Baked Boys Club representing their lifestyle on their t-shirts or on the hats. And make sure you link up with these guys too. I got the pleasure of meeting up with these guys at First Friday in person. I met Travis. Me and Mars, as y'all know on the podcast, we had him on. We've been talking and linking up. Shout out to Jose from Nevada Uplifted as well. Nevada Uplifted, the cannabis magazine, educating the masses on everything cannabis related, from the laws to edible recipes to dabbing tips. So, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys, keep up with the community, man. The Elevated Lifestyle Media Group. That's us with the Space Bucket Growing with Drewski podcast. The Drewski and Stack show will be resuming here shortly. And then we have the cannabis community here in Las Vegas, supporting the move, man. And it's another thing that we're glad to be a part of with our Space Bucket Micro Grow community, because it gives us a chance to educate the world, you know what I'm saying? Especially via this podcast. It gives us a chance to educate folks who are new to cannabis, some things, folks who are recreational cannabis users and want to learn more about cannabis. We do that as well. And, I'm just glad you guys are listening in. So to make sure you guys follow in with this micro grow diary and the things that are going on in cannabis, please make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the podcast. If you guys are listening to this on YouTube, like and subscribe to the Elevated Lifestyle YouTube channel. Like it on Spreaker. If you're listening to this on Spreaker, if you're listening to this on iHeartRadio, thank you so much. You guys on the iHeartRadio channel, making sure we stay alive and stay thriving. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, and we're going to keep this thing going. So this water regimen that I've got going, now that we are in mid to late flower, using the Nectar for the Gods sample kit regimen, a gallon of water, and for the mid-flowering stage, we're going to use 2 teaspoons of Medusa's Magic, 2 teaspoons of Gaia Mania, 2 tablespoons of Athena's Amnius, 1 to 2 teaspoons of Demeter's Destiny, 2 tablespoons of Herculean Harvest, 2 teaspoons of Zeus Juice, and 1 tablespoon of Bloom Chaos as a foliar feed. And we are no longer spraying foliar spray, and that's going straight to the soil. Make sure your water is pH 6.3 to 6.8. That's going to be your recommended range of pH to use to make sure everything that's going inside your plant is going to the max, and what you're going to be feeding your plant, from liquid bone meal to calcium and all that good stuff. So like I've got, you got your supplements, you have your soil feed, you got liquid calcium, you've got your growth enhancer, liquid bone meal, soil nutrient, and then your foliar feeds, which, organic steroids for your plants, man. Make sure you're using those in the recommended dosage. As I say, start using the recommended dosage when you hit the early to flush periods. Seed or clone, use those to the recommended values. If you're using the Nectar for the God sample pack, which is going to be 1 teaspoon, blank, 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 1 teaspoon, blank. So for seed or clone and your early, mid, and late flowering regimens, if you're using the Nectar for the God sample pack, from early veg, mid veg, and late veg, I use the half a gallon of water with the full strength nutrient regimen that they have, and then early, mid, and late flower all the way till flush, use a full gallon of water with full strength newts, and you won't see any newt burn. One thing I've noticed. So this is going to be a cool little thing. Hopefully I get the 2 ounces out of this one that we did on our last pull of Tinkerbells Revenge. And you guys are going to hear the humming. We're going to go over to the plant right now. I'm going to shoot this a look. And I'm pulling off the Grow Star 300 watt UFO LED cob and staring 1.5 feet down into the space bucket. I got some pretty nice looking flowers. I've got 2 on the innermost portion of the plant that are nice, tall, big, and fat. The rest on the perimeter The ones closest to the LED light spacers, they're pretty decently sized, nice and fat. You can start seeing the production of the swell. Now that they've shot up tall, you can start seeing things start to turn over and swell and get fat. So that's another one of those things that's going on in this. And then some of the stuff just on the lower end, even though it's growing, they're not huge buds. A lot of popcorn and larvae down on the innermost portions of the plant. But I like to keep everything that I have just in my grow personally. It's more bud. I personally have not got into a lot of defoliation and trimming and things of that nature because I'm doing micro grows. And so because my grows are so small, one plant per space bucket, low stress training using a screen of green, things of that nature. I like to keep everything that I have to maximize my harvest at the end of the day. Even though a lot of people, they clip and defoliate and they get rid of a lot of the lower leaves and the flowers that are popping in on the lower end that's going to be more popcornish. At the end of the day, for me, since it's a home grow, I don't really have to worry about manicuring to the most perfect of levels, which I'm going to talk to you guys about here in a few about machine manicured cannabis flower versus home grow, indoor or outdoor, and I'm going to trim it down to the necessary portion and then keep the rest of the flower because I'm smoking it anyways. It's going to get ground down anyways. It's going to get put in a joint, a blunt, a pipe, a bong, a vaporizer. It's going to get cooked down into an edible some kind of way. I'm not worried about the look of the cannabis flower at the end of the day. For those of us, now that we're talking about it, for those of you guys who see certain flower and it's not the solid nug, dispensary quality, picture quality, bud that you see in a magazine or that you've seen in a dispensary to where it's perfectly manicured. And to let you guys know, most of that stuff's not manicured by hand. It's manicured by a machine, thus taking away flower from you. And there's just certain things I don't like about my cannabis being manicured by a machine taking flower away from me. It's just something I'm not going to do. So if you've ever got anything from my stash jar, just to be totally cool with you, and you go, man, that's leafy. Like, yeah, it's leafy because it's still cannabis. It's dried. It's cured. It's been burped. You know what I'm talking about? Like, everything's done the right way. You're going to get white ash gang bang bang over here. You know what I'm talking about? And like I said, I don't mind it. That I know what my cannabis looks like when it grows. So knowing that I can smoke that, why would I waste it? So the whole perfect manicure, it's too leafy, it's not done the right way, woo woo woo. I bet you my cannabis smokes way better than that fire crap that you think is fire. Yeah, fire crap. It's hot shit. That's just me talking though, you guys. I'm just saying, personally, since I grow my cannabis, I don't mind it not looking like every other nug out there to where it's just a fat nug and nothing else. Like, I kind of want to see that my cannabis is being grown. To be totally honest with you, like, I don't mind a stem because I know what the stem is. The stem is the holder for the flower. You know what I'm talking about? It's like having your arm and then putting your hand at the end of it. Your hand's supposed to be there. The arm is also supposed to be there. You can always break off the stem, have the flower itself, break that down and smoke it, vape it, bake it, do what you're going to do with it. You can always do that at the end of the day. But if you are a recreational or even a medical cannabis user who doesn't have access to medicine via dispensary and you want dispensary quality looks in your cannabis, you might be selling yourself short on real medicine from real people. Like I said, mine is not going to look machine manufactured. And that's because I'm growing mine indoors, my way, in my environment, and it's going to look a certain way when it gets done. I'm not going to take the additional time to perfectly manicure all my cannabis. I'm not going to do it. I'm smoking it. So, at the end of this grow here, in about 6 weeks, when I get to harvest, and I clip everything out of the screen of green, because it's weaved into that bitch, and there's no just pulling that thing off. Like, I'm definitely going to have to do some clipping. When I get that done, and I take it out of the soil, and I hang dry it, guess what's going down? I'm taking off the additional, the bigger excess. You know what I mean? The stuff that's just like too much. And I'm going to use that trim probably for some nice Tinkerbells Revenge edibles. I might do capsules. I've been looking into coconut oil and things of that nature for edibles. And I might make myself some capsules this time, so that way I can medicate on the go without having to pull out a whole brownie, cupcake, cookie, bag of chips, or anything of that nature. I need something to drink. That's going to, make it obvious that I'm eating an edible when I can pop 2 caps, take a drink, and in a couple hours, I'll be fine. So, that's one of those things. But, you know me, got a lot to talk about. I wonder what I'm going to grow next. I'm dead serious, you guys. And I might need y'all to chime in on this, because I want to create the sativa of all kind. Now, I've got this strain in my hand from seed. Captain Janeway. Now, we also know that Tinkerbells Revenge is a smooth kicker. So, if we mix Captain Janeway with Tinkerbell's Revenge, I wonder what we'll get. Because from what I understand, those are some really, really fly sativas. We already know about Tinkerbell's Revenge. It's a 70-30 sativa hybrid. About a 10-minute onset. Lasts about an hour and a half in standard flower form. Lasts a little bit longer as an edible. It's not speedy. It's a focused high when you have this sativa flower in Tinkerbell's Revenge, and that's another reason why I grow it. I I had decided to keep growing Tinkerbells Revenge because of the high that I experienced when I did grow it. And growing it the first time that I did, my impatient self did not cure this one the way it properly should have been cured. This one, it was rushed, I'm not gonna lie, but it still had a great high. So the goal is to cure it a lot longer than I did the first time. And during that cure phase, knowing what we have in that sativa, I think we're going to have a way better flower than we had on the first grow. Even though the first grow was great, and I can't lie to you about that. The first grow was awesome. It's just in this setting, now that I know what I'm doing, and now that I know what I'm doing from clone, I don't foresee any more cannabis growing problems inside of a space bucket unless I get one of those finicky strains to where everything has to be spot on. So that's just one of those things that's going to have to happen. It's called real life. I like it just like you do. Gives me another day to grow cannabis. And you guys, that's it. This issue of Space Bucket Growing with Drewski in partnership with Mostly Safe. Tinkerbells Revenge grown in the Jabberwocky Space Bucket. Now remember, kids, if you're getting a Space Bucket, what I need you to do, actually screw that. If you support this podcast, the Space Bucket Growing with Drewski podcast. Now, I know sometimes this one person talking about something can get real boring, but I'm glad that you guys have taken the time to sit down and listen to, just me talk about growing cannabis in the Space Bucket. I know it's not visual yet, and I'm working on it. Trust me. I know if you're on YouTube, you're on YouTube. What are you doing? Trust me, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for more supporters like you guys. So what I need you to do is like and subscribe on any platform that you're listening to this on. And then if you decide to, and you want to join in on the movement of a lifetime, which is the stealth micro grow movement, and you want to grow cannabis in the Space Bucket, go to www.mostlysafe8.com. www.mostlysafe and the number 8.com. And whenever you are ready, make that investment. I have the Jabberwocky. I have my own Jabberwocky. It's not Mostly Safe's Jabberwocky. Mine is called Space Station Number 1. I built that one myself with upgrade parts from Mostly Safe. That one has the 180 watt UFO LED upgrade, and when in use, houses an 100 watt light spacer from Mostly Safe. The Jabberwocky is your Space Bucket with two 80 millimeter CFM fans, one intake, one exhaust. You get a screen of green made out of a 3-gallon setup. You get a light spacer, spacers, and you can upgrade your UFO LEDs. Now, the 300 watt that I'm using is the Grow Star 300 watt Cobb LED light. This is a demo test run, but you can purchase your own on Amazon. Or you can get the upgrade from Mostly Safe. It's mostlysafe8.com. Make sure you guys support. Join in on the Space Bucket Micro Grow forum on Facebook. I am an admin. Me, Stacks, Mostly Safe. Get that add-on. Join in. See what everybody's growing. Get grow tips. Ask questions. Post your own grow. You'll see mine. You'll see Stacks. You'll see Mostly Safe. See all of it. You get comics. You get a grow guide. And you get this podcast. So it's another way to get the podcast. Hey, check that out. And another thing, you guys, Elevated Lifestyle Media Group also now has an Etsy store. We don't sell space buckets, but we have our elevated merchandise online. From our elevated t-shirts to our elevated backpacks. That's etsy.com/shop/elevated lifestyle LV. Tank tops, t-shirts, long sleeves, backpacks, coffee mugs. And I think that's it. If I missed something, I missed something. I'm having a stoner moment. But etsy.com/shop/elevated lifestyle LV.
If you want to grow cannabis, space buckets are your path to success. And Mostly Safe Micro Grow makes that path even easier. Head over to mostlysafe8.com for artisan space buckets and how-to guides, or check them out on Etsy. Mostly Safe Micro Grow. Grow your own.